In this video, we're going to explore some AI features hosted by Google. We're going to cover a brief overview of Gemini, NotebookLM, and Google Docs as an accommodation. Welcome to the Accessibility Guide channel. My name is Sean Jordison, and let's jump into the ring. First things first, I have Google Gemini open. Gemini is a fantastic AI tool, and it can really help you put your thoughts into action when it comes to maybe writing a paper. So if we wanted to write a paper on how to make PDFs accessible, what would we do? I'm going to ask Gemini for an outline. I'm going to say, can you provide me an outline for how to make PDFs accessible? And we are going to send that chat through, and it's going to give us some content. Now it's building this out. Making a PDF accessible is a mix of structural engineering and clear communication. If you're starting with a source document, 90% of the work happens there. And it gives us a whole bunch of information. It's interesting. Some of this is outdated, like the touch-up reading order tool, or Turo, doesn't really exist anymore in the same way. It also has some STEM math content. But this is a good foundation for us to begin working with some of this content. Now, because it's not totally accurate, I instead want to use maybe NotebookLM. NotebookLM, I already have a notebook open where I've added a bunch of different resources. And in here, we can actually ask it a list of questions. So I'm going to ask NotebookLM with the sources that I have entered, can you provide an outline of how to make a PDF accessible? Now with Gemini, it gave us this information, but it didn't have any input mechanisms. Over here in NotebookLM, where I have videos, I have other PDFs, and a full presentation on it, it's going to give me a better idea for an outline. So in this example, we've got an outline following a 7-step workflow drawing from the Accessibility Guide's methodology. So this is something I wrote out. Preparing your workstation, check for and apply tags. Now it's kind of adjusted my content a little bit, but this still works. Now what we can do is we can go ahead and save this as a note. And when I do that, over on the right-hand side, we have all of this content ready to go. So as I'm using the AI tool, I can build out notes. And then if I wanted to, I can convert that note into a source, which appears over on the left-hand side under my sources. Now, right now, I'm still building up all of my content, but we could jump over to our empty Google document. And with Google Gemini, I have a hotkey up here called Ask Gemini. If we were to maybe take our source over here and we just copy it, and then we could ask it questions from Gemini right here within our doc. And I'm going to say, can you review this page for accuracy? Perfect. And so this is pulling from our content and it's just checking. And all I'm really trying to show, what's interesting is Gemini is also connected to my Drive account. And so it was able to find some of this content from my Drive account. So there's just so much power with using Google AI as an accommodation for study materials. It kind of just goes round and round. Let's go back over to NotebookLM. And there are some crazy things you can do with NotebookLM. For example, I had it create a video overview. And so if I select this video overview, I'm going to play this back. This is just 1 minute of content. This was completely AI generated from my content.
You've probably made a PDF before, but let's talk about making sure everyone can actually read it. So what's an accessible PDF? Simply put, it's a document that works for anyone, period.
We're talking about people using screen readers, braille displays, voice commands, and other assistive technologies.
And if a PDF isn't built for this, well, you've pretty much created a locked door.
So this is fantastic information. We can minimize this video overview. And then if we wanted to, we could create like an infographic. And so here's an infographic. Now, you got to understand, this was totally generated using AI. but it's not terrible. Like, it makes sense. We've got the accessibility guys blueprint, parent-child tag anatomy, optimizing reading order. Now it says the 3-step workflow. That's not very accurate, but pretty cool that it was just created that way. What about like a report? Let's go ahead and run a report. We can create our own. We can brief a doc or create a study guide. I'm going to create a study guide right now, and it's generating this report based on my sources that I have entered on the far left. So we have our sources window, our chat window, and our studio window. Now, while that is generating, we could also have it generate flashcards, and it's going to add this into the studio and build it at the same time. We could then pull up a mind map or even a slide deck. And all of these things are occurring at the exact same time. So you could just build yourself a ton of study materials. Now in your chat, if you want to communicate with your sources, we can select this configure notebook button. And your chat can be customized. You can have it set to default, learning guide, or even a custom prompt. This one, respond at a PhD student level or pretend to be a role-playing game host. You can also have it set to default, longer or shorter descriptions. I think this is super useful. Let's go ahead and do learning guide, and we want shorter response length and select save. So now anytime we chat, it's going to maintain those settings. Now, if you find yourself in a spot where you need to find other sources, you can do that over in the sources tab. So to summarize, the Google AI suite using Gemini, Docs, and NotebookLM is a powerhouse for student accommodations and for those looking to deep dive and actually learn a topic in and out. If you want to find out how I can help you get accessible, book a meeting with me right now. There's a link below this video. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, do that now for me too. And as always, I can be your champion for inclusion. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I'll see you over in the next video.